Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the time and you attending. So the rapid worldwide adoption of digital and social platforms has created an unprecedented opportunity to scale massive global audiences. No longer does it take years and millions of dollars to build and scale an audience of millions of people. No longer do you have to be a Fortune 500 company, a mainstream brand, or celebrity to build and scale audiences of millions of people around the world. The opportunity is available to everyone, and today I will show you how to take advantage of it. The key to scaling a massive global audience in the shortest time period possible is by hacking word-of-mouth sharing of both your brand and your content. As a digital strategist, I'm often brought into situations where companies have burned through hundreds of thousands, in some cases millions of dollars, on ineffective growth strategies. That's why today we're going to focus on the most cost-efficient and effective ways to reach a global scale and audience in the shortest time period possible. In order to do that, we're going to focus on two key areas. First, what I learned by working with some of the top celebrities in the world on how to grow a global audience. Second, how I took those learnings and developed a strategy for people starting from scratch and how they can reach their first million followers. So let's start by what I learned by working with some of the top celebrities in the world. As a digital strategist, my background is quite diverse in the fact that I've pretty much touched every aspect of digital over the years, because I'm of the mindset that I want to be constantly challenging myself, trying new things and learning. So the first part of my career, I started off in the entertainment industry, managing digital divisions for 2 studios, overseeing the digital strategy on marketing campaigns for films ranging from $15 to $100 million budgets, and also working directly with actors and directors on how to further syndicate their brand online. From there, I knew I wanted to explore the world of being an entrepreneur. So I left and I started building technology platforms and licensing them back to major media companies, such as MTV, Viacom, Yahoo, Vice, and Paramount. And these partnerships really opened up the possibility of working with some of the largest celebrities in the world. One such celebrity was Taylor Swift, which I had the good fortune of building technology platforms for her and her team for about 2.5 years. And what few people realize about Taylor Swift is that she grew her fan base one by one herself. In the beginning, she didn't have a huge record label. She didn't have millions of dollars of marketing budget. She grew her fan base one by one through her own efforts. And what made Taylor so brilliant is she understood the value and the power of fostering one-to-one communication with fans. She recognized that with each social interaction, with each one-to-one interaction she had with a fan, whether that was responding to a comment, taking a photo with a fan, signing an autograph, that not only did it earn that fan's loyalty, but it also turned them into a brand advocate, now making them want to share Taylor's message, Taylor's music, and Taylor's brand with everybody they knew. And because this was happening at a time where social profiles and social media were becoming an integral part of everyday teenager life, no longer was it these new brand advocates sharing with just 3 to 5 of their closest friends. They are now posting it to their social channels, reaching hundreds, in some cases thousands of interactions with each specific post. And that is what allowed Taylor to scale so quickly, as she tapped into those brand advocates and created an army of them. So all of the work that we did was based on this model, building technology platforms that could fuel the power of those brand advocates and be able to scale at amazing growth with these technology platforms. So with Taylor's fan club called Taylor Nation, we started doing research on what technology platforms could we build. And early on, we realized that there was a group of about 30 core fans that actually took the time to learn how to write code and design websites so that they could build their own Taylor Swift fan site, promoting Taylor's music, Taylor's message, and brand to the world. And we thought, okay, that's great, we have 30 of these, but what if we could give that power to all of Taylor's fans? For every fan that wanted to have a Taylor Swift fan site, but didn't know how to design, didn't have access to a web developer. So we did just that. We built a platform that literally with a click of a button, you could turn your Facebook profile into a Taylor Swift fan site, into a Taylor Swift fan site in less than 60 seconds automatically. And the way that we did this is when you click that button, you would grant permissions for us to access your photos and images, and we would extract it through the API and implement it directly into this custom Taylor Swift fan site. And we had over about 15 different designs you could choose from. And once it was automatically built for you, you could change every single element of it within seconds. In less than 30 days, we went from 30 Taylor Swift fan sites to over 35,000, with each one promoting Taylor's message, Taylor's brand, Taylor's music to the world. From there, Rihanna saw the success that we were having with the Taylor Nation program, and she had her record label Roc Nation reach out to us and asked, can you build something similar for Rihanna's fan initiative called Rihanna Navy? So after thinking about it for a while, we built another platform where we took all of Rihanna's album artwork from over the years, and we built a system, again, with a click of a button, we could automatically insert your name and your photos into Rihanna's album, making it look like you had collaborated with Rihanna on that album. And we had designed it in such a way that it could fit at the top of your Facebook timeline cover so that you could prominently feature this new collaboration that you did with Rihanna to all of your social interactions and social connections. And this was wildly successful. We reached over 80 million people worldwide with this simple platform. So both with Taylor Swift and Rihanna, we were just creating technology platforms to fuel this brand advocacy, to make it fun, simple, and easy. So for all of you out there that have brands or companies or products, figure out how can we create a system that makes it enjoyable, quick, and simple for people to share our brand and message for us. From there, I knew I wanted to explore the world of brands and corporations after working with celebrities. And I really wanted to understand how do they reach global scale in the shortest time period possible. So I started to help to build a company that optimizes social paid optimization for Fortune 500 companies. Today, the company optimizes about $100 million worth of paid media. And this was really an eye-opening experience for me from the standpoint we would constantly have brands come to us and say, here's a piece of creative that we just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, in some cases millions. And now we want to spend another million marketing it to a specific demographic. Let's just say it's females 35 to 50 years old. And when you ask them, well, how do you know that this piece of creative is going to resonate with this audience to the tune of risking millions of dollars, 9 times out of 10, they didn't have the analytics or the data to support that decision. And this was a reoccurring theme over and over again with the clients that we were servicing. And I thought there's got to be a better way to go about this. So I left working on that company and started building a set of testing methodologies and predictive algorithms on top of the Facebook platform to use it as a market research tool to identify core demographic and psychographic profiles that would have a higher propensity to share a piece of brand content. So we would be able to test at scale what content themes, formats, and stories resonate with the audience that you're trying to reach before you have to risk hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on an investment. And I was seeing success early on in working with brands and corporations, but I wanted to go back and working with individuals, working with celebrities, professional athletes, and journalists to see if the same success could be produced for generating social fans and social followers globally. So I started working with these individuals, and again, I was seeing success, and it was fascinating because I started seeing data come in from different parts of the world and working with these people. And it seeded an idea in my head. I said, this is great for a major corporation, a brand, or a celebrity, but what about the rest of us? What about people starting from zero? Could this system and process be used for us starting from zero? And I knew the only way to answer that question was to go off and test it, to run an experiment. And when thinking about who would be the perfect person to run this experiment on, I thought, why not myself? I've never been in television or film. I'm definitely not a professional athlete, and I guarantee you I'm never going to be a rock star because I can't carry a tune to save my life. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go off and run this experiment. Can you go to the next slide, please? So over a 30-day period, I used an agile approach to producing, testing, and measuring content in real time. And the way I went about this is every night at midnight, I would schedule a test of anywhere between 50 to 300 variations of content. And when I would wake up in the morning, I would measure the results. And I would see what variations yielded the most return, what generated the intended response that I was looking for, which is to follow and engage with a brand that they had never been exposed to. And this agile approach, this agile process I'm talking about is an adaptive process that includes 3 key steps. The first step is setting a hypothesis. What is the content theme, format, or story we think best represents our message or our brand and is going to generate the intended response from the audience that we're trying to reach? In the second phase is the testing phase, where we produce a low-cost proof of concept that represents the hypothesis that we just set forth so we can quickly test and validate whether or not our hypothesis holds true. And when I mean low cost, I mean low cost. I don't want you spending thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on content. You want to create an agile approach so that you can quickly test and learn and validate. And in the third phase, we look at the analytics and data from those results, and we determine, was our hypothesis true? Did it generate the intended response that we were looking for from the audience that we were trying to reach? If it wasn't, we start the process all over again, set a new hypothesis, test, and pivot. And we keep doing this over and over again until we find a hypothesis that holds true. And once we do, then we can build on that, create more content, and see if it scales. And keep using this process over and over again as a result of informing our short and long-term content strategy. So I extensively tested every piece of content I could get my hands on because I really wanted to learn what it took for different people from different backgrounds, from different parts of the world to engage and follow a brand that they had never been exposed to. So I tested travel photos from unique places I've been over the world, inspirational content in terms of photo quotes, podcasts, videos. I tested comedic-based content, political-based content. And over the course of 30 days, I tested over 5,000 variations of content using this agile process over and over again. And at the end of that 5,000 variations, at the end of that 30 days, I couldn't believe the numbers on my screen. I had generated over 1 million followers in 100 countries in less than 30 days. And it wasn't that I hadn't seen big numbers before because I'd seen them working with a Taylor Swift or Rihanna or a professional athlete. It was me, an individual by himself, sitting behind a computer screen in Los Angeles that could connect with 1 million people in 100 different countries in such a short time period possible. So what did I learn from all this? I learned that whether you're an established entity or an individual starting from zero, with the right growth strategy, you can reach a global scale in a short period of time. So we have 1 million followers, great, now what? I can definitively tell you your job is not done. It's not even halfway done. Because creating 1 million followers in 30 days is a very different story than creating it over the course of 2 or 3 years. And you need to keep this audience engaged. You need to keep them engaged for 2 specific reasons. First, because that audience is so new and that connection is so new, you need to keep top-of-mind awareness and keep that connection fresh. Otherwise, you're going to lose interest. Because the fact of the matter is there's over 60 billion messages sent on digital platforms each day. If you don't find a way to overcome the noise and stand out, you're going to get lost, and that connection is going to get lost. Second, about what we learned by working with Taylor Swift and Rihanna, we need to keep that exponential growth going. And we need to keep fans, these new connections, sharing our content at the highest possible velocity. And one of the biggest obstacles that you're going to have to overcome is the social algorithms. Specifically, it's the worst with Facebook and Twitter. With each post today, when you have 1 million followers on Facebook, you're only reaching 2 to 5% of your audience. So it's more critical than ever to get people to share your message so that you can overcome that noise and stand out. And I didn't want to be one of these people because I see it all the time. Somebody that had 1 million followers or millions of followers on Twitter or Facebook, but minimal engagement, only 100 people or a few hundred people liking a post. What's the value in that? First off, it doesn't look like you have a valid audience. It looks fake. And secondarily, there's no real value to it if you can't engage people around your brand, around your content, and continuously get them to share it. So I knew I needed to come up with a solution to solve that problem. So that same agile process I just walked you through, I used on every single piece of content before I would post it to my main feed. So using dark post, I would test upwards of 100 variations of a single piece of content, testing every element of it from the headline to the captions to the social title cards to, if it's a video, the first 3 seconds versus the last 3 seconds. Because I really wanted to understand every element of what it took to get people to share my content, share my message with their social connections. And you may ask yourself, well, why go through all that much work? Why not just upload a video or an image? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not a creative genius that can just automatically create a piece of content consistently that is shared tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of times. I only know, frankly, 10 people on this planet that can do it at scale, both between companies and individuals. So I use this process as an agile process to really mine analytics and data to inform my short and long-term content decisions. So no longer does it take years and millions of dollars to build and scale an audience of millions of people around the world. No longer do you have to be a Fortune 500 company, a mainstream brand, or celebrity to reach and engage millions of people around the world. The opportunity is available to everyone. And the key to scaling a massive global audience in the shortest time period possible is by hacking word-of-mouth sharing of both your brand and your content. Because at the end of the day, we want to get people to share our content with us at the highest possible velocity so that they can do the heavy lifting for us and scale in the same way that we saw with Taylor Swift and Rihanna. So that's it for today. I thank you guys so much for your time. If you want to reach out and find more information, you can visit optin.tv or you can email me at b@optin.tv. And I don't think there's enough time for Q&A at this point, so I'll just move over to the side, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Brendan, you stay on stage. Stay on stage. Yeah. Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, a big new applause because it's so hard to stay on stage and having all these technical issues. So really respect. So I have one question, and if there's anybody in the audience that have question, we'll take it.
Sure.
Okay. So anybody in the audience? Yeah. What's your name? Igor.
Hi, Brandon. My question is that you reached 1 million followers. Did you have a budget for that? And did you went over budget, under budget, or on the budget to reach 1 million?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I use is I built a set of testing methodologies on top of the Facebook ad platform to use it as a market research tool, not to buy media, but to identify audiences that are willing to share my message at the highest possible velocity. So I'm essentially tapping into the ad platform to reach people that will exponentially share, so you maximize earned lift out of content. So I did have a budget, but that budget was way under what I thought it would be to build 1 million followers. And more importantly, the time frame that I was able to do it in was 30 days. I'm actually running an experiment probably in the next few months where I'm going to try and do it in 48 hours because we've just seen so much exponential growth using that.
Thank you. I have one question.
Sure.
So, among the audience, there are investors, there are startups, there are people with not a lot of money, with a lot of money. So, let's say they are inspired, they know your story, they know you helped Taylor Swift, and you tested for yourself. So, let's say next week comes, and they need to practically do one thing. What would be the first step?
The best piece of advice that I can give is how can you get people to share your content and share your message for you? And that can be both done organically, it can be done through paid, but if you're not able to get people to share your message, then you're paying for every impression or you're getting lost in the algorithms.
So what I'm asking is how would you, let's say they start from zero, like they have a company, it's growing, their mother knows, the neighbor knows, they have a couple of followers, they don't have a big budget. What would be the first step to get people to organically share, or I mean, not manipulate them? You know what?
Sure.
Yeah.
It all comes down to testing. So make sure that you're being agile in your post, and don't get stuck in your ways. If you're only at a few followers, you're only at a few followers for a specific reason, no matter what the platform is. So that means testing different contents, testing different types of images, different types of formats. Like with video in Facebook, like we're testing the first 3 seconds. We'll create 10 different versions of the first 3 seconds versus a different title guard versus whether we use captions or not, just to really learn and experiment. And the beauty of it is, I tested 5,000 variations of content in 30 days. I'm not suggesting that everybody has to do that, but I failed so many times just to learn what worked. So don't get frustrated if you're only at a few followers and you're testing a few different concepts and it's not working. Just keep going and keep going. But you have to have that agile approach to producing the content because you can't be spending a lot of money. So it's like hire somebody on Upwork to create photo quotes, like Gary does an amazing job with that. Yeah. Or create videos. Like you can create custom content very cheaply today and use that to your advantage to really test and learn what it takes for your audience to share your message for you.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Applause.